Okay, so where do I even start with this? This is hands down the greatest free indie game that I have ever experienced. It takes less than an hour to complete. It's utterly adorable, and honestly, I don't think I will ever uninstall it. You need to play this game, like right now. As soon as you have a computer in front of you, this is the next game you play. It's free, will fit on a fucking thumb drive, and I refuse to ruin such a beautiful experience for anyone that even has the slightest capacity to play it for themselves. Don't you dare watch the rest of this video. If there's even the slightest chance you could experience this absolute marvel firsthand, then stop the video now, install it on Steam now, and to make sure you do, I'm pressing pause right here for 10 straight seconds. You can't stop me. Open Steam, get the game installed, or at the very least add this video to your watch later playlist on YouTube so you can come back once you've already played it. Okay, now that you've hopefully already played it, here we go. Sheepy is a game made by people who give a shit. It's packed to the brim with feeling. It really drives home the fact that you don't need to make something big for it to be amazing. The sound design is leagues above the vast majority of AAA titles. The setting and environments are so immersive that right from the get-go, you immediately care about this little sheepy and the world that surrounds him. The animations are, to be blunt, perfection. Every ledge grab, jump, crouch, lever, heck, even the walking animation feels perfect. They're cute, squishy, make adorable little sheepy noises, and they fit the character flawlessly. If you press the jump button during the loading screens, the character jumps too, and that's so fucking cute. Even when you stop moving, the game screen itself begins to gently sway back and forth, as if the world you inhabit doesn't wait around for you. It exists whether you continue or not. And I think that's the point. This world exists without you. It contains stories that have already finished, lore that doesn't pertain to you, characters and interactions that for all intents and purposes have nothing to do with you. Yet, here you are anyway. Sat in this environment that sits in perfect juxtaposition to you and your adorable little sheepy self. So let's talk about those environments. To start, they're tactile, audible, responsive. They're a perfect stylistic contrast to our playable character. Here we are, a pristine, fluffy white sheep with seemingly no worldly necessities, and all around us are signs of abandonment, decay, sometimes even death. The story of this world is dark. It tells a tale of curiosity, followed by tragedy, realized through greed, and it all ended in disappointment. If ever there was a game whose sole purpose was to dictate exactly how every single moment should feel, this is it. This is that game. The entire point, the whole experience, can be summed up with one key concept: the power of atmosphere. Sheepy draws you in. It makes you forget about all the other pointless stuff and lets you focus on the right here and right now. It makes everything so clear right from the get-go. Walk this way, jump over that, careful now, and no, you can't fly. As simple as it is, the game also rewards exploration, nurtures your curiosity, gives you adequate warnings when you could have missed something. It's just good. But it wouldn't be a great game if this was all it was good for. No, buckle up, because Sheepy is an emotional fucking roller coaster. Okay, let's dial it back a bit and talk more about this atmosphere stuff. The first upgrade you get is a double jump. It's nothing crazy, but it opens the world up significantly and gives you a much better sense of character control. But if I were to take you back to the moment just before getting it, this is what you experience. The music here is peaceful. There's a gentle sense of wonder and awe as you plop down onto clacky platforms and ventilation systems. You uncover lost notes from adventurous explorers expressing how this place is so big and that there's probably even more to discover. It's nice here. Honestly, it's hard to want it to end. The music cuts. That wistful feeling of being alone in this vast environment has suddenly become claustrophobic.
If you're hearing this message, something went wrong. This is beyond all of us.
The sound of your own footfalls fades in with a horrifying sense of unease. You climb up a simple set of ledges until 4 notes echo throughout the room. A lone, seemingly inanimate body lies motionless on the floor. The walls, lined with spikes, sit ominously at the edges of the screen, and you know exactly what's about to happen. This moment doesn't hit hard because the fight is big. There's no insurmountable HP bar, the boss isn't huge or wielding a giant weapon. This is a teddy bear named Patches. All he has is a fucking kitchen knife stuck in his forehead, and I'm terrified. This is the power of atmosphere. This is what happens when someone gives a shit about the games they are making. This is the result of having all that playful exploration corrupted slowly through a dark and unnerving environment, and then to have all of that tension concentrated on one creature. Even after you've survived and collected your first upgrade, when the slate feels like it's been wiped clean, the game then does this. Trauma doesn't stick with you unless the threat comes back. Fear doesn't settle in if all it takes is one victory to overcome it. You're powerless, weak, and afraid. You run and jump and clamber just to get away before leaping over the abyss, only for things to once again go, oh so very wrong. Having fallen deep into the chasm, the game does something that I highly approve of. Instead of throwing you back into the happy-go-lucky world and letting you forget all about what literally just happened, it forces you to sit with those feelings. Decompress in a space that only gets smaller and more restrictive as you go down. Sheepy isn't memorable because it's big. No. Sheepy is memorable because at every single turn, when feelings need to be validated, when the most difficult choice is to sit with your fears and look them dead in the eyes, it does this. And once again, you feel oh so very small. I should hate this. I should want out. I feel so damn insignificant. And then it clicks. All of it. This whole scene only works because of what came before it. Atmosphere is dictated by feel, and feelings need to be validated. So what happens next? Well, you waddle around, flicking levers and meandering through more tight passages, riding elevators down and down until we reach here. And suddenly, in a rather morbid way, the tone has completely shifted, with no more than a breath of fresh air. All the way down here, in these moss-covered and decaying depths, suddenly, there's life. This place is littered with these little rabbits that roll away in a puff of snow, singing crystals that glow in pretty colors when brushed past. This place is gorgeous. I mean, look at these little guys. Oh boy, there they go. We learned that the crystals here are a bit of a mystery. We at least know that they're from a time long since past, but have no idea why they're here now. As we continue deeper through the caverns and drop down into the earth, the music shifts yet again. We've discovered an archaeological dig site. Apparently this one came pre-installed with ancient death traps. It's beautiful here. The light glows a soft purple, punctuated with the vibrant blues of the singing crystals. There used to be a civilization here, deep underground. One that knew how to use these strange crystals for God knows what. We're laden with so many questions, and yet we feel light as a feather. Leading ourselves to a room that appears to be the focus of the dig site, we see huge crystals surrounding a large statue with bright, luminescent horns. Bunnies congregate at the statue's base. Our curiosity has definitely been piqued. There appears to be no way out of the room other than the way that we came in. It's not a boss arena, rather something else entirely. If unlocking the first ability was a lesson in fear, then the second ability... oh my god. The second ability feels like freedom. With a rush, distances that took minutes to cover go by in seconds. You're blitzing through the dig site at breakneck speeds. Who needs to worry about ancient traps when we've got places to go, things to see? There's a whole world out there waiting for us. Then the music gently fades as the ground begins to crumble beneath you. There's only a few short leaps remaining until it's calm again. Sheepy does this amazing thing where it gives every important moment a little bit of breathing room. You get time to process it all. Relive it for just another second. Take a moment to recognize that just happened, and it was awesome. And then you get to continue. It's at this point that we're once again reminded of what kind of world Sheepy resides in. It's not fun and games. This world is dark, and the consequences here are unforgiving. We learn that there was an experiment conducted here, one that went horribly wrong. They knew it was going to happen, but money can often come between a great mind and reason. The experiment seems to be about trying to manipulate those crystals, perhaps as a sort of infinite energy source. The result? A pile of corpses and handwritten notes. At the center, a giant purple crystal, and stood next to it, an old friend. It's here that we can piece together what the dark orb was at the very start. If our first encounter gave us the chance to learn fear, then this is the chance to overcome it. The battle is simple, stylized, and it fits the lesson it's supposed to teach perfectly. The more frantic and afraid you are, the harder the fight becomes. Only by taking a step back and looking for the boss's tells will you finally succeed. 3 attacks for each phase, 3 phases for the full fight. After each set of attacks, we're given the opportunity to counter, provided you keep your eyes open and stay aware. Even this last phase won't pose any threat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, renders Patches the teddy bear as a threat no longer. We collect our third and final ability, and now armed with the literal power of flight, it's time we reached for the summit. The climb feels intense. There's this overwhelming sense of pressure. Despite gaining a power that should for all intents and purposes make us feel freer than we ever have, we are instead racked with this intense need to not fuck up. The higher we climb, the more the music picks up, each checkpoint bringing larger gaps and steeper falls. We continue traveling up and up, all the way until we're stood right at the very top, poised to reach out and end this once and for all. Throughout this entire journey, it has felt as if we've never been anything more than a simple observer, a pair of eyes and ears designed to showcase a tale we were never a part of. But now, right now, that's a lie. Here we stand, atop it all, alone. All that's left is this one last recording. We found our old friend.
This message might be my last entry. I'm out of food, water. I have no way of getting away from wherever I am now.
What of you, though, huh? I told you that this game was a masterclass in atmosphere, and I wasn't kidding. Through every single chapter, Sheepy has perfectly depicted exactly how every moment should feel. Every discovery, every fear, every victory, every failure, each punctuated with precisely the right atmosphere and tone that fit the scene perfectly. Even now, as we float from precipice to precipice, this sense of urgency, this tension rises within us. You are now responsible for how this story ends, and that responsibility weighs heavy on your shoulders, and you are so alone. The music dims to no more than a single instrument, and the notes become eerie and uncomfortable. Up here, etched into a decayed stone tablet, you learn that you are no more than a single instrument yourself, designed to play a part in a symphony that has long since already been orchestrated. You were always a part of this story. It's why you awoke in the first place. Aren't you happy? You waddle your way over to the far right of the screen, and as the floor crumbles beneath your feet, you hear this. Definitely doesn't make you feel comfortable, does it? You reach the center of this giant warp gate, and suddenly one of the stone towers on the left alights with flame. Clambering up the side of the tower and touching it lights a pillar of fire into the stratosphere. And then the next tower awakens. Once we reach the center, however, the camera pans into the foreground, where we see Patches? Once again, Sheepy does the impossible, where it gave you all the power you could ever desire and made you feel so small. Now it's taking them all away and making you feel like you can take on the world. One by one, you sacrifice your abilities to light the torches, and each time you do, it only makes you realize how far you've come. Every ability, a testament to your progress. Every sacrifice, a salute to the memories they helped you make. All the way down until even our humble double jump is taken away, and the camera zooms in. Suddenly, we're not so small anymore. Even if we're slow, even if this tiny ledge is almost enough to stop us, we made it. This is the end. Even after everything, this little teddy bear still needs our help. One last time. Look, I'm gonna be real. This is the best free indie game I've ever played. It's so simple, it costs nothing, it's small, it's just... God, I love it so much. Maybe I'm just a sucker for good music. Scratch that, never mind. I know I'm a sucker for good music, but this game does it so well, and I would never have it any other way. Here are all the idiots that joined my Patreon. Don't be like them, be better. This game's free, you can have it without having to spend a cent. Don't be like them. Thanks for watching.